Prince Harry's security battle has just taken a turn that nobody saw coming, and what is being revealed behind closed doors is far more sinister than anyone imagined. This is not about a prince fighting for protection. This is about a man scheming to build an entire rival operation on British soil, one that would put him in direct competition with his own brother. And the most shocking part? Sources suggest the government might actually be helping him do it. For months, Harry has been waging a legal war against the Home Office, demanding taxpayer-funded armed police protection every time he sets foot in the United Kingdom. The courts already ruled against him. The Home Office won. Case closed, or so everyone thought. But then something extraordinary happened. Harry secured a private meeting with King Charles, and within weeks, everything changed. He fired off a personal letter to the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, and suddenly whispers are circulating that a complete reversal is on the table. Palace insiders are calling it a calculated power play years in the making. Harry does not just want bodyguards, he wants the infrastructure to operate as a quasi-royal figure on British soil, conducting his own tours, his own engagements, his own publicity machine. And if he gets the security clearance restored, he will have exactly what he needs to make it happen. The buzz in royal circles is that Harry has been telling people he wants to educate his children in the United Kingdom. He wants to spend significantly more time there. But sources close to the situation reveal the real motivation has nothing to do with Archie and Lilibet learning their times tables in an English classroom. This is about relevance. This is about reclaiming the spotlight he walked away from. And most devastatingly for the institution, this is about showing William that he can still command attention, still draw crowds, still matter. One senior royal watcher put it bluntly: Harry is not trying to come home. He is trying to set up a competing franchise. And the terrifying reality is that certain powerful figures within the British establishment appear to be rolling out the red carpet for him to do exactly that. The implications are staggering. If Harry wins this fight, British taxpayers will be funding security for a man who has spent years publicly trashing their country, their monarchy, and their values. Every time he flies in for a photo opportunity or a paid speaking gig, millions of pounds could be spent protecting someone who has made it abundantly clear he holds nothing but contempt for the nation footing the bill. Royal commentators are already sounding the alarm. This is not about safety anymore. This is about ego, about vengeance, and about a desperate attempt to prove that leaving the royal family was not the catastrophic mistake that everyone knows it was. But the security scandal is just the beginning of this story, because what Harry did next to make this happen has left even his harshest critics stunned. The moment Harry's private letter landed on Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood's desk, the rules of engagement shifted entirely. This was not a formal legal appeal or a public statement through his representatives. This was a personal, private correspondence from a prince to a cabinet minister, and the implications of that move have sent shockwaves through Westminster and Buckingham Palace alike. Sources close to the situation reveal that Harry's letter arrived just weeks after his surprise reunion with King Charles. The timing was not coincidental. Palace insiders whisper that Harry used that emotionally charged meeting with his cancer-stricken father to gather intelligence, to test the waters, and to position himself for this exact play. He walked out of that reunion and immediately pivoted to a political offensive that blindsided everyone. What makes this so explosive is the question nobody in government wants to answer. Is the Labour government acting on Charles's wishes, or are they going rogue? Royal commentators are deeply divided. Some believe Charles quietly gave his blessing, desperate to repair his fractured relationship with his youngest son before time runs out. Others insist the king would never sanction anything that undermines William or destabilizes the monarchy's future. The truth, according to those who know the family best, is probably somewhere in the uncomfortable middle. The Labour Party has made no secret of its appetite to reverse Tory decisions wherever possible. When the previous Conservative government backed the Home Office's position against Harry, it became a political football. Now with Labour in power, figures within the party see an opportunity to simultaneously embarrass their predecessors and curry favor with a globally famous prince. The fact that this prince has spent years attacking British institutions apparently matters less than the chance to score political points. Angela Levin, the royal biographer who spent extensive time with Harry during her research, expressed her disgust at the entire situation. She called it shocking that a private letter could carry such weight, pointing out the fundamental contradiction in Harry's position. He wants to be treated as a prince when it suits him, demanding special access to government ministers and taxpayer-funded protection. But he also wants the freedom to criticize, to monetize his grievances, and to operate outside royal constraints. He cannot have it both ways, yet somehow he keeps getting exactly that. The most damning detail emerging from this scandal is what sources say Harry included in that letter. Reports indicate he outlined his plans to spend significantly more time in the United Kingdom, framing the security request as essential for his family's safety. But between the lines, insiders detected something far more ambitious. Harry was not asking for occasional protection during brief visits. He was laying the groundwork for a permanent operational presence, one that would require ongoing security infrastructure and, by extension, ongoing taxpayer expense. The Home Secretary has not publicly responded to questions about the letter, but the silence from her office speaks volumes, and what is happening behind those closed doors could reshape the monarchy forever. What is happening behind the scenes is not simply a family reconciliation or a security dispute. It is a coordinated establishment plot, and it has a name. Insiders are calling it Project Thaw, and its goal is to warm up Harry and Meghan's frosty relationship with the royal family, and more importantly, with the British public. The players involved read like a who's who of Labour Party power brokers, and their motivations are raising serious alarm bells. Richard Eden, one of the most connected royal correspondents in Fleet Street, has been tracking this shadowy operation for months. His reporting reveals that King Charles has been drawn into the scheme, aided by key establishment figures working behind the scenes. Among the most prominent names are David Lammy, the Justice Secretary, and Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary's cabinet colleague. Cooper is said to be among those who admire Harry and want him to play a bigger part in public life. She is married to Ed Balls, the former cabinet minister turned television host, who now fronts Good Morning Britain, the same program from which Piers Morgan resigned after Meghan complained about his critical comments. The connections run deep, and they all point in one direction. Powerful figures within the Labour government are actively working to rehabilitate the Sussexes, and their reasons have nothing to do with family unity or national interest. According to sources, many on the political left hailed Meghan as a symbol of change when she married Harry in 2018. They viewed her as a modernizing force, a mixed-race American actress who would drag the stuffy monarchy into the 21st century. When she left, they felt robbed of that narrative. Now they want her back to finish what she started. Critics are calling it what it is. This is about diversity optics, pure and simple. Certain establishment figures care less about Meghan's character, her treatment of staff, or her estrangement from virtually every member of her own family. What they care about is the visual of a biracial woman standing on the Buckingham Palace balcony. They want that image regardless of the chaos and destruction she has left in her wake. The problem with Project Thaw is that it fundamentally misreads the British public. Polls consistently show that Harry and Meghan's popularity has cratered. The people are not crying out for their return. They are relieved the drama has moved 3,000 miles away. But the architects of this scheme appear to believe they know better than the voters who put them in office. Word on the street suggests the new risk assessment being conducted could result in taxpayer-funded protection being fully restored to both Harry and Meghan. The justification will reportedly be that the couple plans to spend much more time in the United Kingdom than previously. Sources even claim Harry wants to educate his children there, but those closest to the situation see through the spin immediately. This is not about schooling or family visits. This is about building a platform, and the establishment is handing them the keys. The most explosive allegation to emerge from this entire saga comes from Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast, and it confirms what royal watchers have feared for months. Harry is not simply seeking security for occasional visits home. He is planning to beef up his entire UK operation, creating what sources are calling a rival court designed to compete directly with Prince William. Let that sink in for a moment. The Spare is not content to fade quietly into his California sunset. He wants to return to British soil with enough infrastructure, enough staff, and enough taxpayer-funded protection to operate as a parallel royal entity. Every engagement William conducts, Harry could shadow with his own. Every cause William champions, Harry could counter with competing initiatives. The brothers who once stood side by side would become direct competitors for public attention, media coverage, and charitable donations. Insiders describe the scenario as William's worst nightmare made real. The Prince of Wales has spent years carefully building his reputation, supporting his father through cancer treatment, and positioning himself as a steady future king. He has done everything right while his brother has done everything wrong, and now Harry wants to waltz back in with security teams and camera crews, sucking up oxygen and creating chaos wherever he goes. The most troubling aspect of Harry's alleged plan is how he interprets the palace's response to his activities. According to sources, Harry operates under a dangerous delusion. When he notifies the royal household about his plans and receives no formal objection, he takes that silence as tacit approval. He genuinely believes he is representing the monarchy when he conducts his pseudo-royal tours in Colombia, Nigeria, and Canada. The fact that the palace cannot realistically stop him does not register. In his mind, no response equals endorsement. This creates an impossible situation for William and Charles. If they publicly condemn Harry's activities, they feed the media frenzy and give him exactly the attention he craves. If they stay silent, he claims their blessing and continues operating as though he never left. There is no winning move, and Harry knows it. He has weaponized their restraint against them. Royal commentators are warning that restoring Harry's security would supercharge this problem exponentially. Right now, his UK visits are limited by the logistical headache of arranging private protection. Remove that barrier by giving him automatic access to armed police details, and suddenly nothing stops him from spending weeks or months at a time conducting his shadow operation. British taxpayers would essentially be funding a one-man campaign to undermine the institution they already support through the civil list. The numbers involved are staggering. Security experts estimate that a single day of royal protection can cost upwards of £50,000 when motorcades, advance teams, and round-the-clock officers are factored in. Multiply that across extended visits, and the bill reaches into the millions annually. But the financial cost might be the least of the monarchy's problems. The relationship between King Charles and Prince William has always been complex, shaped by tragedy, duty, and decades of carefully managed public appearances. But behind the polished facade, sources reveal a growing rift that threatens to fracture the monarchy's carefully constructed unity. And at the center of this royal storm sits one person, Harry. Palace insiders whisper that William was furious when Charles chose to reconcile with Harry earlier this year. The Prince of Wales made his position crystal clear. He did not want his father welcoming Harry back into the fold, not after everything the younger prince had done. The Netflix documentaries, The Oprah Interview, the memoir that exposed family secrets and humiliated William's wife. These were not minor disagreements that could be smoothed over with a cup of tea at Clarence House. They were calculated attacks on the institution William has dedicated his life to protecting. But Charles, ever the peacemaker, ignored his eldest son's counsel. The king's cancer diagnosis softened him in ways that some view as admirable and others see as dangerously naive. He invited Harry for that fateful reunion, and according to those who know the family best, William viewed it as a profound betrayal. The message Charles sent was unmistakable. No matter how badly Harry behaves, there will always be a path back to forgiveness. The tension extends far beyond Harry. Father and son have been locked in difficult discussions about how to run the firm, and they are not always in agreement. The Andrew situation has become another flashpoint. Charles wants to move his disgraced brother to Sandringham, but any decision like that requires William's input, because the Prince of Wales will eventually inherit these properties. Why would William want his scandal-plagued uncle living on his future Norfolk estate? A constant reminder of the monarchy's failures to police its own members. Royal biographer Charlotte Griffiths confirmed that whispers of beef between Charles and William have been circulating through Fleet Street. She diplomatically suggested it might simply be the natural friction of a father and son working together. But others close to the situation believe the problems run deeper. William has started publicly discussing the changes he will make when he becomes king, something that was previously considered inappropriate to mention while a monarch still reigns. The fact that he feels comfortable doing so now speaks volumes about where his head is at. The most explosive revelation concerns what William reportedly plans to do about Harry once he takes the throne. Sources indicate the Prince of Wales intends to strip his brother of his remaining titles the moment he has the power to do so. No more Duke of Sussex, no more Prince, just Harry, a private citizen with no claim to royal status whatsoever. It would be the ultimate punishment, delivered by the brother Harry once called his best friend. Christmas this year will only deepen the divide, because what William is planning for the holidays has the palace scrambling. The festive season should be a time for family unity and healing, but Christmas at Sandringham this year tells a very different story. Prince William is making a statement, and the message could not be clearer. He is done playing by the old rules, and he does not care who knows it. Reports confirm that William will attend the traditional Christmas morning church service with his family, ensuring the cameras capture the picture-perfect image of royal togetherness. But after that, he is out. The Prince of Wales will skip the formal Christmas lunch at Sandringham, opting instead to spend the holiday with the Middletons at their more relaxed family gathering. For a future king to choose his in-laws over his own father during one of the monarchy's most sacred traditions is absolutely unprecedented. The timing makes this decision even more pointed. Charles is battling cancer. His treatment has been reduced, which is positive news, but nobody knows how many Christmases the king has left. For William to distance himself now, when his father needs family support most, sends a devastating signal about the state of their relationship. Add to that the absence of Harry, the exile of Andrew, and even Camilla's children choosing to spend the holiday elsewhere, and Sandringham is shaping up to be painfully empty. But William is not just absenting himself, he is actively leaking his modernization plans to the press, and the message is unmistakable. A story planted in the Mail on Sunday revealed that when William becomes king, he intends to scrap the antiquated Christmas gift-giving ceremony that has been a Sandringham tradition for generations. The ritual involves cheap joke presents handed out in strict order of royal seniority, with senior members receiving their gifts first while junior royals wait patiently as the pile diminishes. Sources close to William say he has never liked this tradition. He finds it stuffy and outdated, completely at odds with the informal family gatherings he prefers with Kate and the Middletons. The fact that this story leaked now, just before Christmas, is no accident. William is putting the palace on notice. Change is coming, whether they like it or not. Royal traditionalists are alarmed. Angela Levin pointed out that it is not William's time to be making these decisions. That is still his father's role. But William appears unwilling to wait. He is already positioning himself as a king in waiting, making clear that his reign will look dramatically different from anything that came before. The contrast with Harry could not be starker. While William is strategically distancing himself to preserve his vision for the monarchy's future, Harry is desperately clawing to get back in, willing to burn every relationship and spend every taxpayer pound to reclaim a position he voluntarily abandoned. One brother is building, the other is destroying, but William's careful planning faces an unexpected threat. Because what Harry has been doing in America is about to collide with everything the Prince of Wales has worked to achieve. While William strategically positions himself for kingship, Harry has been stumbling from one humiliating disaster to another on American soil. His recent media appearances have left even his most loyal defenders cringing, and the whispers from Hollywood insiders suggest Meghan is the puppet master pulling his strings straight into oblivion. The Stephen Colbert appearance was supposed to be a charm offensive. Instead, it became a masterclass in secondhand embarrassment. Harry sat there making awkward jokes about being treated like a king for the day, asking Colbert to beg for him. The host looked confused, the audience fell silent, and millions of viewers watched a once beloved prince reduced to desperate late-night fodder. Then came the political jab that crossed every line. Harry quipped about America electing a king, a direct swipe at Donald Trump that landed with a thud heard around the world. Maureen Callahan from the New York Post delivered the most savage assessment. She declared that Harry went from second in line to the throne to basically an on-call sidekick for a guy who completely destroyed the late-night franchise. Her conclusion was brutal and impossible to argue with. Another destroyer. Harry is a loser. The words cut because they capture exactly what everyone is thinking but few dare to say publicly. But the Colbert disaster was just the warm-up act. Harry then appeared at a British event in Los Angeles, where he delivered a speech dripping with misplaced nostalgia and tone-deaf political commentary. He made jokes about fellow Brits being welcome to America for the World Cup, provided they behave and make it through customs. The Trump reference landed like a lead balloon. The crowd offered a standing ovation so forced and uncomfortable that footage of the moment has gone viral for all the wrong reasons. People stood reluctantly, applauded weakly, and sat down at the earliest possible second. Royal commentator Rob Shooter dropped a bombshell about what is really happening behind the scenes. According to his sources, Meghan pushed Harry to pivot into politics during the Colbert appearance. She had script approval on everything he said, nothing was off the cuff. The quick-witted prince who once charmed the world with spontaneous humor has been replaced by a man reading from his wife's approved talking points. Angela Levin, who spent extensive time with Harry during her biographical research, expressed her disgust. She said he used to make her laugh constantly with his quick jokes, but this version of Harry is not funny. This is somebody trying desperately to make people laugh with a gormless face and complete nonsense. She believes Meghan orchestrated the entire political pivot, because if she is going to fall, she is determined to drag Harry down with her. The irony is excruciating. Harry fled Britain claiming he wanted privacy and a normal life. Now he is performing like a trained seal on American television, saying whatever his wife tells him to say. And Meghan's own downfall is accelerating faster than anyone predicted. The Duchess of Sussex has spent years cultivating an image as a beloved humanitarian, a champion of progressive causes, and a glamorous addition to California's elite social scene. But that carefully constructed facade is crumbling in the most humiliating way possible. Meghan is now being publicly mocked in her own backyard, and the people turning against her are the very community she desperately wanted to impress. Kitson, the trendy Los Angeles boutique beloved by celebrities and tastemakers, has delivered a devastating blow. The high-end department store on Robertson Boulevard, nestled between Beverly Hills and West Hollywood, has named Meghan a Villain of the Year in their infamous holiday window display. The annual Rogues Gallery of Holiday Hypocrites has become a local tradition since 2020, and this year Meghan earned her spot alongside California Governor Gavin Newsom, George Clooney, and Katy Perry. The store created a mocked-up magazine cover featuring Meghan in a Santa hat emblazoned with the words Montecito Diva. It is a brutal public shaming from the exact demographic Meghan assumed would embrace her. These are the boutique shoppers, the brunch crowd, the wellness enthusiasts who were supposed to be her people. Instead, they are laughing at her expense in one of the trendiest shopping destinations in Los Angeles. Sources close to the Montecito community reveal that Meghan and Harry have never made any effort to connect with their neighbors. They moved into their multi-million-dollar mansion and immediately erected walls, both literal and figurative, between themselves and the community. Local residents complain that the couple has shown zero interest in being friendly or approachable. They wanted the zip code without any of the obligations that come with being part of a neighborhood. Angela Levin pointed out that this isolation is entirely self-inflicted. Meghan has been a diva since she joined the royal family. She is demanding, rude, and very difficult to deal with. The Montecito diva label fits her perfectly. Levin suggested that if Meghan is upset by the public mockery, perhaps she should try being a different and nicer person. The Kitson humiliation comes on top of mounting evidence that Meghan's professional ventures are failing spectacularly. Her Netflix cooking show flopped. Her lifestyle brand remains more concept than reality. The celebrity endorsements and A-list friendships she expected have not materialized. Hollywood has quietly closed its doors, and the invitations to exclusive events have dried up. What makes this particularly devastating is the contrast with how Meghan clearly expected her California life to unfold. She left the royal family believing she would conquer America, becoming a power player in entertainment, politics, and philanthropy. Instead, she is being featured in a joke window display at a boutique, mocked by the very people she thought would worship her. The couple's isolation extends beyond their neighborhood. Both Harry and Meghan have severed ties with their own families in ways that are about to have heartbreaking consequences. There is something deeply tragic unfolding on both sides of the Sussex equation, and it involves the two men who gave Harry and Meghan life. Both fathers are unwell, both are running out of time, and both have been effectively abandoned by the children, who should be at their bedsides. Thomas Markle is fighting for his life in the intensive care unit of a hospital in the Philippines. The 80-year-old suffered a devastating health crisis that resulted in the amputation of his leg. He is elderly, he is fragile, and he is completely alone except for his troubled son Thomas Jr. and a journalist friend who has shown more compassion than his own daughter. Caroline Graham from the Mail on Sunday has been by his bedside, documenting his desperate final wish to see Meghan one more time before he passes away. Meghan's response to her dying father has been nothing short of chilling. Through her representatives, she attacked the newspaper and labeled Graham a puppeteer manipulating Thomas. She made no move to fly to the Philippines. She sent no message of comfort or reconciliation. Instead, she had her public relations team wage a war of words while her father lay in a hospital bed wondering why his daughter has erased him from her life. Charlotte Griffith posed the question everyone is asking. Who does Thomas Markle have by his bedside? Did Meghan fly over to sit with him? No. So what does she want for him to be completely alone? The cruelty is staggering. This is a man who walked Meghan through her childhood, who supported her acting dreams, who only became estranged after the wedding debacle that Meghan herself largely orchestrated, and now he may never see his grandchildren or his daughter again. Meanwhile, King Charles continues his own health battle with the cancer that has shadowed his reign from almost the very beginning. He announced this week that his treatment will be reduced in the new year, describing it as a personal blessing. But he is not in remission and the disease remains unpredictable. Charles acknowledged the reality that 50% of people will be diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lives. He is acutely aware of his mortality. Harry has publicly stated that he does not know how long his father has left to live. That comment went down badly in royal circles because it felt exploitative rather than genuinely concerned. And yet, despite this supposed awareness that time is short, Harry continues his legal battles, his media attacks, and his demands for taxpayer-funded privileges. If he truly believed his father could pass away soon, would he really be spending these precious months fighting over security details and plotting rival courts? Royal correspondent Rupert Bell summarized the situation perfectly. When someone is in their late 70s battling cancer, you cannot take risks. These disputes may feel important now, but there may not be time left to fix the damage. And the damage Harry is causing could prove permanent. Everything that has been revealed points to one terrifying conclusion. If Harry wins his security fight, the British monarchy as we know it may not survive the fallout. This is not hyperbole. This is the cold assessment of royal experts who have watched this family for decades and have never seen the institution more vulnerable. The Republican movement in Britain is growing. Polls show declining support for the monarchy among younger generations. King Charles carries the baggage of the Diana years and his complicated relationship with Camilla. And now his youngest son is demanding that taxpayers fund his security while he simultaneously trashes the country from his California mansion. The political attack ads write themselves. Every time Harry visits the UK, it could cost £5 million for motorcades and protection. People are struggling to heat their homes, and they are supposed to pay for a prince who called them far-right racists for voting Brexit? Royal commentators are pleading with Charles to take decisive action before it is too late. Strip the titles, cut the cord, make it abundantly clear that Harry and Meghan are no longer members of the royal family in any meaningful sense. Yes, it would be painful. Yes, Harry might never speak to his father again. But the alternative is watching the monarchy slowly bleed out while a petulant prince exploits every loophole and weakness he can find. Angela Levin put it bluntly. Harry does not need the highest level of protection with armed guards. Nobody is interested in him anymore. He can hire retired security professionals who know exactly what they are doing. But that is not really what this fight is about. Harry wants the optics of armed police officers surrounding him because it makes him look important. It validates his belief that he still matters. And Meghan would never go anywhere without that kind of visible status symbol. The most chilling prediction comes from those who have watched Harry's pattern of escalation. If he wins security in the UK, he will immediately push for worldwide protection. He and Meghan and the children will travel the globe with taxpayer-funded details, living like royalty without any of the responsibilities. Every international trip, every pseudo-royal tour, every red carpet appearance will come with a bill sent directly to the British public. Charles has a choice to make. He can continue coddling his youngest son, hoping that kindness will eventually bring Harry back to his senses. Or he can protect the institution that generations of his family built, even if it means sacrificing his relationship with Harry forever. If Harry cannot maintain a relationship with his father without titles and taxpayer money, then Charles will finally know who his son truly is. A man of poor character who chose a woman over his family, his country, and his duty. The question now falls to you. Should British taxpayers fund security for a prince who has done nothing but insult them? Drop your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you will not believe what is coming next.